Before dawn, the Maasai Mara exists in a state of near total stillness. In low light, the savannah does not operate on emotion or vague instinct. It operates on a strict mathematical system known as cost-benefit analysis of survival. Here, survival is not the result of compassion. It is the outcome of precise energy calculations. Every sprint by prey consumes calories. Every strike by a predator carries a risk of injury. If energy cost exceeds energy gain, the individual does not simply fail in the moment, it moves closer to long-term biological collapse. Within the power structure of the savannah, lions are the only large cats that operate through a stable and highly organized social system. Their dominance does not arise from the strength of a single individual. It emerges from coordinated behavior that turns the entire pride into a biological unit capable of controlling space and resources on a large scale. The survival foundation of a lion pride lies in the male coalition, usually composed of 2 to 4 adult males. Under natural conditions, a single male is almost incapable of maintaining control over territories spanning hundreds of square miles. Pressure from rival males and the requirement to protect cubs make solitary dominance biologically unsustainable. Male coalitions create a distributed defense system. While one individual rests or feeds, others patrol territorial boundaries. This activity includes scent marking through urine and the production of low-frequency roars that can travel several miles under favorable atmospheric conditions. Sound and scent combine to form an informational barrier that delivers clear warning signals to younger coalitions seeking opportunities to take over the pride. The more stable the coalition, the longer the period of territorial control. This stability is critical because it determines cub survival. Short control periods often result in cub loss during power transitions. In contrast, strong coalitions ensure sufficient time for the next generation to mature and disperse. From a biological perspective, this strategy maximizes gene transmission in a highly competitive environment. If male coalitions preserve social structure, lionesses are the force that sustains the pride energy flow through hunting. Their hunting activity is not random. It is organized through clear role allocation. Based on body size, experience, and concealment ability of each individual. One of the most effective strategies is the two-flank encirclement. In this method, the hunting group is divided into two functional units. The first unit applies frontal pressure by deliberately exposing itself to force prey movement along a pre-planned path. The second unit remains concealed within terrain-blind zones and holds position. The success of this strategy does not depend on endurance, speed. It depends on reducing detection distance to a minimum and synchronizing the moment of acceleration. In lion strategy, success is not measured by speed. It is measured by the ability to convert the opponent's strength into a structural liability. In lion biology, sleep is not a sign of passivity. It is a thermodynamic survival strategy optimized through hundreds of thousands of years of evolution. With rest periods that can reach nearly 20 hours per day, the lion body deliberately lowers heart rate and basal metabolic rate to the lowest possible level. This state limits energy loss in an environment where every calorie has survival value. The objective is not short-term conservation. It is accumulation for a single future event. An adult lion expends several thousand calories each day simply to maintain basic life functions. Pursuing small prey, although easier to capture, often delivers less energy than the cost required. These are biologically inefficient outcomes that cannot be sustained over time. However, ecosystems do not operate on certainty. Data show that most lion hunts end in failure. Each missed attack is not only a lost feeding opportunity, but a direct depletion of biological reserves. When failure persists, the body is forced into a catabolic state, breaking down fat tissue and then muscle tissue to sustain life. At this stage, hunting capability declines further, creating a biological spiral that is difficult to reverse. On the savannah, the boundary between dominance and biological collapse is not determined by strength. It is determined by energy management and precision during brief, explosive moments. The cheetah did not evolve for combat. It evolved to test physical limits for an extremely short duration. On the savannah, this species does not rely on strength or endurance. It functions as a biological system optimized for instantaneous speed. Every aspect of the cheetah body reflects a single objective. That objective is to reach maximum velocity in the shortest possible time before thermodynamic constraints force a stop. At the center of this system is a highly flexible spine. During a sprint, the cheetah spine repeatedly compresses and extends like an elastic spring. This motion allows a stride length that exceeds that of other large cats. The mechanism increases distance covered per stride without increasing ground contact frequency. At high speed, there are moments when the entire body leaves the ground. This reduces terrain resistance and improves conversion of metabolic energy into forward motion. Evolution has removed non-essential features to prioritize a short operational window with extreme power output. To supply muscles operating at such intensity, the cheetah respiratory and circulatory systems operate near maximum capacity. Enlarged nasal passages allow large volumes of air to enter the lungs within a short time. The heart and lungs are proportionally large relative to body mass. This ensures rapid oxygen delivery to muscle tissue under extreme load. Unlike most cats, the cheetah claws do not fully retract. This is not a limitation, but a deliberate biological trade-off. These fixed claws function as traction points that increase friction with the ground during acceleration and sharp turns. After each sprint, the cheetah requires extended time to reduce heart rate and cool the body. During this recovery phase, it is nearly incapable of self-defense. Captured prey may be stolen, and the cheetah itself can become a target for other predators. On the savannah, the cheetah does not fail due to lack of speed. It fails when physics and biology reach their limits at the same time. The Mara River is not only a geographic boundary. During the annual migration cycle, it becomes a convergence zone where extreme biological demand collides with the highest mortality probability on the savannah. Here, advantages that normally support herbivore survival, such as speed, agility, and early detection, are largely neutralized by terrain and herd dynamics. The convergence of millions of wildebeest at river crossings is not random. It is a direct result of nutritional pressure. When southern grasslands are depleted, herds are forced to move north to access younger, higher energy forage. Time does not favor them. Each day of delay increases the risk of exhaustion. When the first individual slips down the riverbank, that event does not function as leadership. It acts as a trigger signal. Imitative response spreads faster than individual risk assessment. The crowd becomes a flow. River crossings along the Mara form a classic bottleneck. Riverbanks often rise several feet above the waterline. They are steep and coated with slick mud from rainfall and abrasion caused by previous herds. This terrain converts controlled movement into uncontrolled sliding. Once descending, wildebeest lose control of their center of mass. Skills effective on open plains, such as rapid acceleration and agile turning, no longer function on sloped mud. At this stage, prey enters a state of maximum vulnerability. Below lies fast-moving water. Above lies a continuous collapse of mass. Consequences do not originate only from water. Mechanical impacts cause fractures, joint dislocations, and soft tissue injuries. Healthy individuals can become immobile within seconds. At that point, mortality risk increases sharply even before aquatic predators engage. Most deaths at the Mara River occur before teeth make contact. When individual density exceeds spatial tolerance, collective movement shifts from order to chaos. Fear propagates faster than any directional signal. Under conditions of poor visibility and intense noise, individuals no longer search for optimal escape routes. Behavior shifts to climbing, pushing, and trampling. Weaker individuals or those trapped in lower positions are rapidly compressed by mass above. Death occurs through suffocation, cervical trauma, or acute exhaustion. This is not a deliberate event. It is the statistical outcome of a system in overload. Carcasses carried downstream are not only the end of an individual, they become an energy input for the downstream ecosystem. Nutrients are released. Scavengers concentrate. The food web is activated at scale. At the Mara River, death carries no moral meaning. It is the result of pressure, terrain, and collective behavior intersecting at the same moment. This is why the area is defined as the zone of annihilation, not due to cruelty, but because mortality probability reaches its maximum when survival rules converge simultaneously. Within the Maasai Mara ecosystem, the leopard represents a survival model fundamentally different from lions or wild dogs. While other predators rely on numbers or endurance, the leopard survives through a solitary strategy where concealment, precision, and risk control are decisive factors. Leopards possess coats marked with complex patterns known as rosettes. These patterns are not aesthetic features. They are a form of disruptive camouflage optimized for the uneven lighting conditions of the savannah. Beneath acacia canopies, sunlight is fragmented into constantly shifting patches of light and shadow. Under these conditions, rosette patterns break up the body outline, preventing the prey visual system from assembling scattered visual cues into a complete form. As a result, a leopard can remain at very close range without triggering an alarm response. This mechanism does not rely on disappearance. It relies on deceiving the shape recognition process of the prey visual nervous system. Through this adaptation, leopards can approach prey within only a few feet, even in daylight, without requiring dense physical cover. The most significant difference between leopards and other large cats lies in vertical prey transport. Leopards have evolved an exceptionally powerful shoulder, neck, and back musculature system. They can haul prey weighing several times their own body mass, such as a fully grown impala, to heights exceeding 15 feet. Lifting prey into trees does more than eliminate theft risk. It transforms the feeding environment. At elevation, the carcass becomes a protected energy reserve, allowing the leopard to feed gradually over several days. This is an efficient logistical solution in a highly competitive ecosystem where each successful hunt must be fully exploited. A solitary lifestyle places leopards under a distinct risk profile. There is no cooperative support, no food sharing, and no social safety zone. Every error carries immediate and direct consequences. A minor leg injury reduces silent approach capability. A broken tooth eliminates effective tracheal locking. A strong impact of the chest can restrict breathing. In all cases, hunting efficiency declines immediately. For a solitary individual, reduced hunting capacity equals prolonged hunger. Prolonged hunger prevents sufficient energy allocation for injury recovery. This creates a biological downward spiral that leads directly to elimination. For this reason, the leopard is the most risk-averse predator among apex hunters. Leopards do not seek balanced confrontations. Every hunt is designed to achieve complete dominance from the initial moment. If conditions are not optimal, they disengage. Within the Mara ecosystem, leopards do not persist through superior strength. They persist through minimizing risk to the lowest possible level. In a world where solitary predators are given no second chances. Across the Maasai Mara Savannah, some species do not operate within conventional predator-prey logic. They do not rely on concealment. They do not rely on pursuit. They rarely become targets. Their dominance comes from size, physiology, and behavior. These factors place them outside the standard risk loops of the food chain. African elephants do not dominate through offensive weapons. They dominate through spatial awareness and long-term memory. A leading female stores detailed knowledge of water distribution and food availability accumulated over decades. During severe dry seasons, when surface water disappears, this internal database determines the survival of the entire herd. Memory is not only an individual advantage, it is transmitted through social structure. Younger generations learn optimal movement routes and rare subsurface water locations. The result is long-distance travel spanning hundreds of miles with high navigational accuracy. This represents a form of biological rooting refined over time. The impact of elephants extends far beyond their own needs. By breaking trees, opening pathways, digging and compacting soil, elephants restructure the landscape. They alter vegetation distribution and nutrient flow. They do not simply use the ecosystem, they actively shape it. If elephants represent cognitive dominance, hippopotamuses represent territorial dominance. Although they are herbivores, hippos possess jaws capable of generating extreme bite force and elongated tusks. These tusks are not used for feeding. They're used for deterrence and injury. Hippo behavior is governed by territorial command. Water access points and river sections are non-shareable resources. Any intrusion, whether from crocodiles, lions, or humans, triggers exclusion behavior. With massive body mass and thick skin, hippos function as moving physical force within aquatic and shoreline environments. In these zones, short acceleration and direct collision determine outcomes. In an efficiently operating ecosystem, ultimate authority does not always belong to the sharpest teeth. It belongs to size, memory, and the ability to convert physical collision into survival advantage. While large cats rely on short explosive bursts, African wild dogs and spotted hyenas represent an opposing survival strategy based on endurance. On the Mara Savannah, their success does not come from an immediate killing bite. It comes from the ability to maintain physiological pressure until prey collapses. African wild dogs are among the most efficient predators on the savannah, with success rates higher than many other apex predators. The foundation of this efficiency is a relay running strategy, a depletion mechanism organized at the pack level. Instead of committing all energy to a single sprint, the entire pack maintains continuous pressure. When prey, often an impala, changes direction to escape the leading individual, other members cut angles and rotate into the lead position. This rotation allows the pack to sustain high speed over long distances while individual members recover partially. From a physiological perspective, this strategy directly targets the prey ability to dissipate heat. Although prey may be faster over the first several yards, it lacks sufficient recovery time to reduce heart rate and cool the body. As heat accumulation exceeds safe limits, muscle performance declines, coordination deteriorates, and injury risk increases rapidly. The hunt ends not through direct confrontation, but through physiological failure. Hyenas are often underestimated due to their scavenging role, but behaviorally they are advanced social strategists. Hyena society operates under a matriarchal structure in which females hold dominant positions. This structure creates hierarchical stability, reduces internal conflict, and optimizes coordination during hunts. Hyena communication systems are highly complex. Vocal signals, often misinterpreted as laughter, transmit information about prey type, distance, and required mobilization level. This allows the clan to adjust group size and tactics in real time, surrounding and harassing prey from multiple directions. Rather than seeking a rapid kill, hyenas erode stamina and concentration. Continuous pressure forces prey to expend energy, lose coordination, and eventually enter a vulnerable state. In this context, success is the result of collective intelligence rather than individual strength. A key biological advantage of hyenas lies in their extremely acidic digestive system. Their stomachs can dissolve bone, teeth, and horns, materials left behind by most other predators. This allows hyenas to extract nearly all nutritional value from a carcass. From an ecosystem perspective, this functions as an efficient cleanup mechanism. Calcium and minerals are extracted, metabolized, and returned to the environment through waste. This process contributes to soil nutrient renewal. Material cycling is completed more rapidly, reducing carcass persistence and disease risk. At the Mara, wild dogs and hyenas demonstrate that speed is not always decisive. In many survival scenarios, success belongs to systems that endure longer, coordinate more effectively, and fully exploit available resources. In the Maasai Mara ecosystem, death is not the endpoint of energy flow. It is the activation point for a tightly organized consumption network known as the Scavengers Guild. Within this system, scavenging species, especially vultures, play a critical role in biological cleanup and in closing the material cycle. Vultures do not hunt using speed or strength. Their advantage lies in detection from strategic altitude. Instead of constant flapping, they exploit rising columns of warm air known as thermals. By circling within these air columns, vultures can gain thousands of feet in altitude at very low energy cost. The defining advantage of vultures lies in their ability to biologically process hazardous energy sources. Decomposing meat may contain pathogens lethal to most mammals. In vultures, this risk is controlled by extremely acidic stomach conditions, strong enough to destroy bacteria and neutralize toxins before they enter the body. This differentiation shortens carcass persistence time. It limits flies, bacterial growth, and the risk of disease outbreaks. Nutrients are returned to the soil quickly. This process maintains cleanliness and stability across the savannah. Vultures are not merely scavengers. They function as the biological infrastructure of the ecosystem. They ensure that death is efficiently converted into future life. The process is rapid, safe, and leaves no hazardous residue. The Maasai Mara does not pause. When the sun sets, a new energy cycle begins immediately. The death of an individual is not an endpoint. It is a transfer point where energy is redistributed across multiple biological levels. The carcass of an antelope becomes nourishment for predators. Scavengers, and ultimately microorganisms that enrich the soil. Vegetation then recovers and supports the next generation. This cycle requires no external coordination. It operates through physical and biological principles refined over extended time. This system remains sensitive to external variables. Climate change, reduced migration corridors, and pressure from human activity increase friction within this balanced structure. When system components are forced out of alignment, consequences propagate throughout the entire network. The Mara is not a landscape to be conquered. It represents an example of how complex systems maintain stability when allowed to operate within appropriate space and natural timing. Nature functions as an integrated system. Each component, regardless of scale, contributes directly to the continuity of the whole.